This is Janine Pettit, brand ambassador for Camco and editor-in-chief of Girl Camper magazine. You know, we just did a big spread in the magazine about pizza at the campground, and I'm down here in North Carolina with my friends at Camco, and I'm like, I think I can make campground pizza on the big red campfire because I do a lot of Dutch oven cooking on my big red campfire. The thing I love about this is I get to control the flames and the heat, and you can't always do that when you're playing with the coals, the temperature, is your wood wet, is it dry, all of those things. With the attachment to the big red campfire, I can put my Dutch oven on here and I can control the heat. So I got to thinking, can I do this with pizza too? And we're here today to test it out. Let me talk about a couple of things that we need before we get started. The first thing is a great cast iron fry pan. That's what's going to give you that crispy crust and keep it all contained in there. We've got a small one here. It's heavily seasoned, a nice one. I put a little olive oil in it, and I've been preheating it on the fire here for about 15 minutes. To make sure that it's ready to go, I'm just going to drop, yep, you see that? If you drop a little water on there and you see that water jump up and start dancing in little beads, it's hot enough. The second thing is the dough. Have you ever tried to make it at home and it just keeps going back and you pull it out and it keeps going back? That's because it's too cold. We put this out this afternoon and we put them in our little Camco bowls and we covered them with shower caps from the Dollar Tree. So buy these in a 10-pack. They are so handy at the campground. Put your shoes in here before you go inside so you don't bring all the mud in the camper. Put it on top of your bicycle seat and keep all the dew off it. I always have a pack of those. So I've got this dough. It is room temperature and beyond. It's about an 80-degree day here today. And I'm gonna turn it out on this board with some cornmeal. Now here's the trick with this. Everybody wants to just go in and start spinning it. You have to get a little on your fingers and then tap it down. You want to tap from the top going to the back and not too much cornmeal, and then start working around until you're leveling it all out. When you're making a small pizza for a very small cast iron oven, you don't need to do that. And I'm just going to get myself a nice little circle. It's not stretching back on me, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm going to get it over to the fry pan and drop it on. Ooh, you know what? It fit in there just perfect. I'm just gonna tip it up so you can see. So now, what I like to do is leave this on here for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna actually flip this because I want this toasted on both sides. And to just kind of speed up the process here for the film, I'm gonna stick it right under here. The logs on the big red campfire are ceramic. It's not gonna damage it in any way. So this is the great thing about the big red campfire. I've had one for a couple of years, and since I have asthma, I really appreciate this thing because I love the campfire, the heat, the flames, the warmth, but I do not like what it does for my asthma. The other thing about having one of these is when you get to the campground and it's very late, maybe you got there and the camp store is already closed and you can't get wood, but you really want that fire. If you bust out your big red campfire, you can turn it on for 15 minutes, turn it off and go to bed. You're not standing over the thing waiting for your logs to burn out. So I have enjoyed mine so much and actually use it at home a lot on my back porch. Okay, so let's see how we did. Yep. So it's toasty, it's gotten stiff on one side, and now I'm just gonna flip that over, and we have got a nice toasted top there. So now this is the fun part. This is where we get to load it up. The trick about campfire pizzas or outdoor pizzas, because you don't load them with toppings. You're not working with the same kind of heat. So I'm gonna do a thin layer there, and this is just jarred sauce because it's easy. The toppings that you put on the pizza, they are razor thin. Even cut them on a mandolin if you want to. Spread those out so they have space to cook. Real thin layer of mushrooms here. And then razor thin little green peppers so we can release that flavor and they can soften up. And so I am gonna put that on there, and then not too much cheese. You want a little bit of cheese. So I got a thin layer there of the cheese. And now what I'm gonna do, because I've turned the flame down, I'm actually gonna move this back down here 4 or 5 minutes. And it's not the kind of recipe you walk away from. You don't put this on and go talking to friends or, you know, watering the plants. You gotta stay by this, keep an eye on it. Just like pizza in a pizza parlor, you might have to pull this out and spin it because you don't want the bottom to burn. So I'm just gonna give this a turn. A little there. And then I'm just gonna let the heat do its magic. We're gonna come back in a minute and show you the most delicious campfire pizza. Here we are, everybody. Our pizza is done. Like about 5 minutes. I watched it, I spun it, and I am taking it off now. Not even a little bit burnt on the bottom. That diligence pays off in the little spinning. So I am gonna dig in now and take a bite of this. It looks so good. Now you could do this with pizzas, you could do it with little calzones, you could make really anything on here. It is delicious, and not just because it's the first piece of bread I've had in 3 weeks. It's really, really good. Crispy, nice amount of sauce, just a real treat at the campground. And then I also get to use my big red campfire for campfires. Another thing that Camco's doing to make life better at the campsite. Head over to CamcoOutdoors.com, put in Girl Camper 10 and get 10% off anything you buy.
Camco.